the B2B logistics challenges we're having. The other two
Yep.
things that are happening are stuff's taking a lot longer to get here, right? And it's arriving in unpredictable timeframes, right? It's getting surprise delayed. So the antidote to that is more safety stock, right?
Yep.
Now the pain in the ass is that would have been nice to know a year ago,
Right.
right?
So you could have told me this yesterday, this information. Yeah.
Right. So you could have, because we could have bulked up.
We did get lucky on the new business we purchased because I did have the foresight back in January. I was like, this seems like it could be a problem. And, we were in a situation where we had the cash. And again, we were lucky in the fact that our COGS are relatively cheap. It's like, the products are pretty cheap to hold on to and get. And so we just wrote a check basically for an extra $150,000, which I know sounds easy to just say out loud, and it's not a small amount of money, but effectively we've doubled our inventory. And so while a lot of people have been out of stock, we've been chugging right along. Now, unfortunately, no matter how hard we tried, there are some things now that we are struggling with in the moment, trying to get a hold of. But yeah, the rest of our brands, man, it would have been nice to kind of know this information
right
6 months ago, kind of thing.
Right. But the antidote to long lead times is higher stock levels. It's just math. If you're struggling to get stuff from your suppliers, if you used to get it in a month and now you get it in 6 months, you probably, very back the envelope math, now need to carry 6 times as much inventory as you used to.
Yeah.
Right. Now I recognize that's not free. And I recognize it would have been great to know it last year, but how's that proverb go, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is going to resolve. So the best salve for your wound here is to put in a huge PO right now, even still. And then at least you'll be out of the woods in 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And we recognize this for our other brands probably 4 to 5 months ago-ish, something in that range. And just went crazy. Like we've ordered the most amount of inventory we've ever had for these businesses, and it's all like on the water about to show up now because it takes about that long to finally work it out. Because I remember talking to my COO back in like the late spring, and I was just like, I think that he with the most inventory this year wins versus other years where it's been a much different calculation, in Q4. And so the costs have all been higher. Like our cost of goods have gone up, the cost of shipping has gone up. That slid on us after we placed the order. What we understood our COGS is going to be fully landed has now stretched and changed from what we originally thought. But the inventory is on the way. I'm excited to see what happens. I think that we're going to see a lot of our competitors on Amazon just run out, and we'll be the only ones selling it. And if we can continue to be the only ones selling it, that could be like a huge windfall for us. But who knows how it's actually going to play out.
Yep. I totally think inventory is the number one competitive weapon right now in late 2021 here. Having inventory on hand is so key. And so there's actually a good thread in the ECF forums where someone was like, what would you do? Like, I have an extra $100,000. Like, where should I invest it? Like, imagine you had an extra $100,000. Like, should I buy Bitcoin or should I, buy a stock, or is there a high yield savings account I should do? And everybody's like all going back and forth. And I thought the best reply, I can't remember whose reply it was like, dude, you should buy inventory.
Yeah.
Like buying inventory is, if you have a business, like the best place you can park cash right now is on your balance sheet in inventory, because guess what? It'll probably be worth 20% more next year just holding it, right? Because prices are going up. Not to mention, you're going to have the competitive advantage to be in stock while everybody's not. That is, if you have an extra $1, you should put it in inventory right now.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
Yep. And then the last one is kind of unpredictability. If you used to get it in 1 month plus or minus 2 weeks, and now you get it in 6 months plus or minus 3 months, well, guess what? You got to carry 9 months of stock now, right? So, the only antidote to long lead times and unpredictability is more inventory. And I will say, if you don't have the cash on hand, if you go like, where am I going to come up with all this money? You can borrow it. Go to a bank. Go to your local bank, like literally as simple as like the local. I don't know if I love Bank of America or Wells for this, but like, or Chase or any of the like the big banks, but like pick your second tier bank or even like a local credit union and go in there and go, hi, I want to talk about a line of credit. Banks love to finance inventory, and interest rates are super low right now.
Yep.
So, and Mike, I know you know this, but for folks listening, you can borrow money at 5% right now. and that inventory is probably worth 20% more, even at cost a year from now. So you made money just holding the inventory, let alone selling it. To buy more inventory is a great, great reason to borrow.
Yeah. And if you have a good business that you've been running for multiple years, no matter what, you're going to sell the inventory. It's not like you're buying, a sack of rocks that you can't get rid of later. I mean,
not a Ferrari or something,
right?
It's going to depreciate.
It's not like you're buying Bitcoin where you can't get rid of it later, maybe.
Right.
But
it's worth nothing in the end.
It's worth nothing in the end. Maybe we'll see what happens. But now, those of you who are listening that have a business that's less than 2 years old, it is really hard to go to your bank. I do recommend just making the 3 or 4 clicks it takes to just borrow the money from Amazon. It's so easy, right? I mean,
yeah.
All of our brands have tons of money available for us to draw down, and we haven't taken it right now because we're still in a pretty good cash position ourselves. But if we needed the money, I would absolutely click the buttons and take it from Amazon. It's just super easy. The brand that we just purchased, they're offering I think $762,000 I saw yesterday. If we want to just get our hands on a bunch of cash, I mean, it's a couple clicks away. I mean, for ice wraps, we're at $250,000 right now. They'll lend us, and so Amazon understands all the things that we're talking about. They understand that they're going to continue to make more money by lending you more money, and don't be so jumping over dollars to pick up a nickel mentality. When you don't want to pay that interest rate. Yeah, it's a 10% interest rate or whatever Amazon's going to charge you, but still you're making, like Bill was just saying, your inventory could appreciate 20%. The cost of shipping can continue to go up. You could be the only one that has inventory to sell. Think how much money you make when you sell a widget versus if you had no widgets at all, and what that does to your BSR and all the other things the downward pipeline of the butterfly effect of that. So take the money, get the inventory. It's a good investment. Mike
Jackness, a reformed man, preaching the virtues of borrowing money to buy inventory. Never thought I'd hear the day.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, it's another whole conversation for another day. But just in general, I grew up relatively poor, lower middle class, didn't really have any money, got in a bunch of credit card debt when I was young. Because it's just, my parents didn't teach me financial wisdom, and it seems like free money. You're just putting it on a credit card, and I get to go do all these things and have all these things, and it was really freaking neat. And next thing you know, I had this pile of debt. And when I had my first successful business, I was just first thing I did was pay all that off. I paid off the car, paid off the credit cards, paid off the house, and just had no debt, and really enjoyed living that way. But in e-commerce, you can't really live that way. It's one thing when you're running an affiliate network, and there's no cogs, but when you start stacking up $1 million of inventory, and you want to continue to grow past there, you got to take on debt. Every major company does it. That's selling products. Every major company, period. Even the largest ones, even Apple, has bonds, has debt to support the billions of dollars of products they have in their pipeline that hasn't. That's in accounts receivable hasn't been paid for yet.